Good morning. Welcome to Language Learning Podcast. We are so happy you're joining us for today's deep dive.
And a very good morning to you. Though, I think I'll reserve judgment on how good it actually is for another hour or so. Maybe after some coffee.
That right there.
Yeah.
That is the perfect way to start today's topic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Ah.
We are diving deep into something every single English learner needs. How to talk about daily routines, personal habits, and, just lifestyle in general.
It's so fundamental. I mean, if you're at that A2 or B1 level, this is the stuff you use every day. You can't really have a conversation without it.
Exactly. You needed to introduce yourself, to talk about work, to make plans. It's non-negotiable.
So our mission today is to give you the tools for that. We're going to break it all down.
We are. And we have a really specific plan. First, we're going to unlock some really great expressive vocabulary, words to talk about mornings, energy, that whole vibe of starting your day.
And then the big one, the grammar. We're going to look at two really crucial structures.
Right. First, how to talk about your habits right now, your present habits, using words like usually.
And second, and this is maybe even more important, how to talk about habits you had in the past, things you don't do anymore. For that, we're going to master the phrase used to.
And to make this all a bit more fun and memorable, we're framing the whole discussion around two opposing forces.
The two great camps of humanity.
I am volunteering to lead the first camp. I am all about structure, the early morning light, getting things done before the world wakes up. I am the early bird.
And, well, I guess that leaves me to represent the other half, the more misunderstood half, I'd say.
Oh, here we go.
I am the night owl. I do my best work when it's quiet and dark. Mornings are, let's just say, a necessary evil. We are not lazy, I promise. We're just on a different timeline.
This contrast, the early bird versus the night owl, is going to be our guide for this whole deep dive. So let's start with the essential vocabulary you need to even have this conversation.
Okay, let's start with the basics. Why does this even matter? Well, routines are universal, right? Everyone has them. But they're all different. And being able to talk about those differences is just key for any learner.
So let's properly define our two teams, you and me. First up, the early bird.
Right. An early bird is, officially a person who wakes up early and has a lot of energy in the morning. I think there's even a scientific term for it, a morning chronotype.
A morning chronotype. I love that. And it's so true. The second my alarm goes off, my brain is just on. It's ready to go. I feel this physical need to just get up and start doing things.
And I feel a physical need to find the source of that noise and destroy it.
Which brings us to your team, the night owl.
The night owl, yes.
Uh-huh.
That's a person who naturally stays up late and, to put it mildly, hates mornings. We're the evening chronotype. Our energy peaks much, much later in the day.
So trying to get you to be creative at 8 a.m. is a lost cause.
It's like trying to operate underwater. Everything's slow and fuzzy and just difficult.
I think it's so important for you listening to get this. These aren't just personality quirks. They're actual terms you can use to explain your energy.
Absolutely. You can say, oh, I'm a total night owl, so 9 a.m. meetings are my nightmare. Or, my roommate is an early bird, so she always makes the coffee. It explains a lot.
Okay, so from the personality types to the battlefield of the morning, the alarm clock. This leads us to the signature move of the night owl.
Oh, I know this one.
To hit the snooze button.
Ah, yes, the snooze button. My old friend and enemy. It's a great idiom. And it means, turning off your alarm for just 5 more minutes.
Just 5 more minutes. But why? I don't get it. You know you have to get up eventually. Why delay it?
Because in that moment, that alarm is this violent intrusion. Hitting snooze is a small act of rebellion. It's a tiny little reward.
A reward?
Yeah, it's like a mini victory against the morning. You're telling reality, not yet. Give me 5 more minutes to pretend this isn't happening.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I just see it as procrastination.
It is. But it's procrastination born from a deep biological resistance to being awake at that hour. And, you hit it once, twice. 5 times isn't crazy.
So when you tell someone, I hit the snooze button 5 times this morning, you're really telling them a whole story about your struggle.
Exactly. Now, what's the opposite of that? What does the early bird do?
We don't snooze. We kickstart the day.
Right. To kickstart the day, it sounds so aggressive.
It's a great verb phrase. It means you start your day with real energy, a deliberate action to get things moving. Like, kickstarting a motorcycle. It's not a gentle process.
It implies intention, vigor.
Totally. For me, kickstarting the day could be going for a quick walk or putting on some really loud music, something that shocks my system into go mode.
I see. So for our listeners, you'd use this with an activity like, I kickstart my day with a really strong espresso.
Exactly. Or she kickstarts her day with 10 minutes of meditation. It's that first important energetic thing you do.
Okay, so before we move on, maybe we should add a few more common phrases for just, getting out of bed.
Good idea. So
Yeah.
there's wake up. That's when your eyes open and your brain turns on.
And then there's get up, which is the physical act of actually leaving the bed. They're not always the same thing.
For a night owl, definitely not. You might not just get up. You might roll out of bed.
Oh, for sure. Which suggests it's a slow, kind of unenthusiastic process.
Or even better, you might say, I had to drag myself out of bed.
Yes, that one's perfect. It implies so much effort and reluctance. I stayed up until 2 a.m., so I had to drag myself out of bed this morning. The verb you choose says everything about your energy.
Okay, so all of this effort, or lack of effort, leads to a result. And that brings us to our next key word, the adjective productive.
Productive, this is a big one. It means you're achieving a lot, getting important things done efficiently. And this is where early birds and night owls agree on the goal, but not the timing.
Not at all. I feel incredibly productive between, say, 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. I've cleared my inbox. I've done my creative work. The day is already a success.
And I am at my most productive between about 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. There are no distractions. I can focus completely. I get a whole day's work done in those 3 hours.
But it's important for you listening to know the difference between being productive and just being busy.
Ah, yes. That is a really key distinction, especially for a B1 learner. What's the difference?
Well, being busy just means your time is full. You're doing a lot of things. You could be busy answering unimportant emails or just clicking around online.
But being productive means you're getting valuable results. It's about the output, not just the activity.
Right. So you want to be able to say you had a productive morning, not just a busy one.
Exactly. So now we have the language. We have early bird, night owl, hit the snooze button, kickstart the day, and productive. We can describe the whole experience.
So let's put it all together. Let's see these two characters in a real-life conversation.
Okay.
We're going to act out a short dialogue. I will be, of course, the super energetic early bird.
And I will be the tragic, sleepy night owl. I'm going to channel my inner zombie for this. We're calling this one the energy versus the zombie.
Perfect. Pay close attention to the vocabulary we just discussed and the difference in our energy.
All right, I'm ready, I think.
Good morning. You look like you're only half here. I've already been to the gym, ran 5 kilometers, and made a nutrient-dense kale and mango smoothie. How was your morning?
Please keep your voice down. It is only 8:15 a.m. How do you have so much energy? I feel like I'm wearing cement shoes.
I'm an early bird. I thrive on routine and morning air. What time did you finally surface?
I barely woke up 10 minutes ago. My initial alarm went off at 6:45, but I hit the snooze button 5 times. I literally can't function without my first large, strong cup of coffee.
You need a better routine, friend. You should try to go to bed earlier. Get an extra hour of sleep.
I can't shift my schedule. I am a night owl, remember? I am most productive at midnight. Mornings are just a painful transition period for me.
Okay, and scene.
Phew. I feel tired just acting that out. The mere thought of a 5K run before breakfast is horrifying.
But look at all the great language in that short exchange. We should break some of that down.
Yeah, let's do it. So I started with that plea. Keep your voice down. That's super useful, simple English. It's just a polite way to ask someone to be quieter.
And my big boast was packed with grammar. I said, I have already been to the gym, ran 5 kilometers. I used the present perfect tense.
Why the present perfect?
Because it emphasizes that those actions are finished, but the results, my energy, are important right now. And that word already just adds that little bit of, can you believe how early I did this?
Right, and then my response, I barely woke up 10 minutes ago. That adverb barely is key. It means only just or with difficulty. It paints a picture of a real struggle.
It really does. And then you had the classic dependency line, I literally can't function without my coffee.
Yeah, the verb function there just means to operate normally. So if you say you can't function without something, you're saying it's absolutely essential for you to be a normal human.
And people use literally all the time for emphasis, right? Even when it's not, literally true.
All the time. It's very common in conversational English.
Then I offered my unsolicited advice.
Of course you did.
You should try to go to bed earlier. That modal verb, should, is perfect for giving advice or making a suggestion. It's polite but clear.
And my defense was basically just using our vocabulary words. I am a night owl, and I am most productive at midnight. It's a simple way to justify my lifestyle.
The whole thing is just so relatable. Everyone knows this dynamic, and now you listening have the exact words and phrases to describe it.
Which leads us right into the grammar. How do we talk about these habits consistently, both in the present and in the past?
This can be a tricky area for A2 and B1 learners, but I promise the logic is actually pretty simple once you see it.
Okay, so let's start with now, the present. How do we talk about things we do regularly?
For that, we use adverbs of frequency,
Hmm.
and the most common one is probably usually.
Usually. So that means most of the time, but not always.
Exactly. Not 100%, but it's your normal routine. I usually drink tea in the morning, or we usually watch a movie on Fridays.
Okay, and what about where it goes in the sentence? That can be confusing.
It can. So for most verbs, it goes right before the main verb. Subject, then usually, then the verb. I usually walk to work.
But not with the verb to be.
Right. With to be, it comes after. I'm usually tired on Mondays. That's a little rule you just have to remember to sound natural.
Okay, that makes sense. So usually is for our habits right now, but what about the habits we don't have anymore?
Now we get to the really interesting one. For that, we have a special phrase, used to.
I used to. This is such a powerful little tool because it doesn't just talk about the past. It does more than that.
It really does. When you say, I used to do something, you are telling your listener two things at once. First, that you did this thing regularly in the past.
And second, and this is the most important part, that you do not do it anymore.
Exactly. It signals a change. The minute you say, I used to, you're telling a story about how your life is different now.
So if I say I used to smoke, everyone understands that I quit. I don't smoke now. The stopped part is implied.
Or for routines. He used to wake up at 6 a.m. every day. We immediately know that now. He probably hits his snooze button.
So the structure is always used to, plus the simple base form of the verb. I used to play guitar. They used to live in London.
Yes. But here's the part where learners often make a little mistake. In questions and negatives.
Ah, right. Because we need to add did or didn't.
And when you add did, it takes the past tense, so used, goes back to its base form, use.
So the question would be, did you used to exercise more? Without the D.
Perfect. And the negatives.
I didn't used to like coffee. Again, no D. I didn't used to.
That's a really common point of confusion, but the logic is there. Only one word needs to be in the past tense.
Okay, but we have to talk about the other big point of confusion, the difference between I used to do something and I am used to something.
Yes. The confusing cousins, be used to and get used to. They sound similar, but they mean something completely different.
So let's break it down. Used to plus a base verb means a past habit that has stopped. We've got that.
Right.
But be used to plus a verb with ing or a noun means you're accustomed to something. It feels normal to you now.
It's about being acclimated. Like if I move to Canada, after a while I might say, I am used to the cold weather now. It means the cold is normal for me.
Or for me as a night owl, I could say, I am used to staying up late. It's my current normal. It feels comfortable.
And the third one, get used to, is about the process of becoming accustomed.
Exactly. It's the journey. So maybe when a night owl starts a new job with an early start, they could say, it took me a few weeks to get used to waking up so early.
So it describes that difficult transition period.
Precisely. So let's just quickly summarize that for everyone listening, because this is so important.
Okay, number one, usually plus a verb. That's your present, consistent habit. I usually read before bed.
Number two, used to plus a base verb, a past habit that is now finished. I used to live in a small town.
Number three, be used to plus verbing or a noun. Your present state of being accustomed to something. I am used to the noise.
And number four, get used to plus verbing or a noun, the process of adapting. I'm still getting used to my new schedule.
If you can master those four, you are well on your way to sounding like a really solid B1 speaker.
Totally. So now that we have the grammar, let's hear it in another conversation. Let's see that change in action.
For this second dialogue, we're going to hear the night owl reflecting a bit. Thinking about a time when they were actually more like the early bird. This is a super common kind of conversation to have.
It's a short dialogue, but it's all about that contrast between past and present. Listen for that used to.
Okay, let's do it.
You know, believe it or not, I used to be quite healthy like you. In university, I played football every day and ran everywhere.
Seriously, that's hard to imagine. What happened? What triggered that change?
Life. I started working in a corporate office, and I spend all day sitting in a chair. Now, I usually just sit for 8 hours, and I've put on some weight because of it.
Well, It is never too late to start again. Look, I'm not saying you have to run a marathon, but maybe we can walk the first few blocks to work together. Small changes help build momentum.
That is a good idea. I promise to try that new walking habit, starting tomorrow morning.
Starting tomorrow. The famous last words of every good intention.
It's a classic, but let's look at the grammar there. It started right away with the target phrase, I used to be healthy.
And that immediately signals that this state of being healthy is over. It's in the past.
Right. The past habit was playing football every day, very active, and your question was the perfect natural follow-up. What happened?
When someone tells you they used to do something, that's what you ask. You want to know the story of the change.
And the explanation showed that contrast perfectly. I started working in an office. Now I usually just sit. So we see the past, used to play, contrasted with the present, usually sit.
And the direct consequence was, I've put on some weight. That's a really common phrasal verb, isn't it?
It is. It just means to gain weight, to increase your body weight. It's a very natural way to say it.
So that whole dialogue was really about contrasting a past healthy habit with a current, less healthy habit.
A bad habit, you could say, and it had a negative result. Then you, the ever-positive early bird, came in with some encouragement.
It is never too late to start again. I love that idiom. It's all about hope and the possibility of change.
And your advice was practical. Maybe we can walk. Using can there makes it a soft suggestion, not a command. It's about taking a small step.
Which all leads to that final, glorious moment of procrastination.
I promise to try. Starting tomorrow.
It's funny, but it's also honest communication, right? It's an idiom that just means you're delaying something, that you're finding it hard to start.
This really shows that used to isn't just a grammar point. It's a storytelling device. It helps you talk about your life, your changes, and why you are the way you are today.
So for everyone listening, try it now. Think of something you used to do. Maybe you used to read more, or you used to play an instrument. How would you describe that change?
Excellent. So now we've identified the habits. Good, bad, past, present. Let's move to the last part. How do we actually make a positive change?
Yes, let's get into some practical tips. How can a night owl build a better morning, even if they'll never be an early bird?
And the goal here isn't transformation. It's not about forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. It's about small, smart changes to make your mornings less painful and more productive.
Creating a sequence of small wins that can help kickstart the day.
Exactly. And the first tip is one that almost every single habit expert agrees on.
Yeah.
Don't check your phone immediately when you wake up.
This is a hard one for so many people. Why is it so important?
Because the moment you look at your phone, you're looking at emails, news, social media, it's an information flood. And it immediately puts your brain into a reactive mode.
So you're responding to other people's demands, not setting your own agenda for the day.
You've got it. You're giving away your control. But if you just wait, even 10 minutes, you give yourself a chance to decide what's important for you. You can be productive, not just digitally busy.
Okay, that's a big one. Tip 2 is much simpler. It's a physical one.
Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning.
This is a literal way to kickstart your day, isn't it?
It is. You're always a bit dehydrated when you wake up. Water gets everything moving, it rehydrates you, it boosts your metabolism. It's an instant physical win.
It requires zero mental effort, but it's a positive first step.
Right. And that leads perfectly into tip 3, which is all about psychology. Make your bed.
Make your bed. That sounds so small. Why does that matter?
Because it's your first completed task of the day. It's a small success. And that success tells your brain, I am a person who gets things done.
So that tiny feeling of accomplishment can create momentum for bigger tasks later on.
That's the idea. It helps you fight that feeling of inertia, that desire to just roll back into bed. It's a psychological trick that really works.
You know, there's a more advanced idea here that our listeners could probably use. It's called habit stacking.
Ooh, yes. Habit stacking. What is that?
Well, it's the idea of linking a new habit you want to start to an old habit that's already established. You don't rely on memory or motivation, you rely on the sequence.
So you stack the new habit on top of an old one.
Exactly. The formula is, after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit.
Okay, so give me an example. Let's say my current habit is making coffee.
Perfect. So instead of just making coffee, your new rule could be, after I pour my coffee, I will review 5 English vocabulary words.
Ah, I see. So you're using the coffee habit as a trigger for the new English habit.
You got it. It's a super powerful way to build new routines without needing tons of willpower.
I like that a lot. Okay, what's our last tip? This one has to address the starting tomorrow problem.
It does. This one is called the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule. Okay, I'm listening.
The rule is simple. If a new habit takes less than 2 minutes to do, you just do it right now. No debate, no delay.
So the goal isn't really the task itself, it's just the act of starting.
Precisely. So instead of, I'm going to start exercising tomorrow, you use the 2-minute rule and say, I will put on my gym shoes and walk outside. That takes less than 2 minutes.
And once you've started, it's much easier to continue. It breaks that initial resistance. It helps the night owl stop hitting the snooze button on their life goals.
These tips show that it's not about completely changing who you are. You don't have to become an early bird. It's just about building a better system for your morning.
Right. It's about finding what works for your chronotype and then having the language usually and use to talk about the changes you're making.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. We've gone from the crazy energy of the early bird to the thoughtful reality of the night owl.
We have, and hopefully you now have some great new vocabulary. You know the difference between being productive and being busy. You know how to kickstart your day, and you understand the deep psychological pull of the snooze button.
And most importantly, we've really dug into that essential A2-B1 grammar. You know how to use I, me, or usually for your current routines.
And you know how to use I used to tell the story of a habit that has ended and to talk about how your life has changed.
So we want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on. Which one are you right now? An early bird or a night owl?
And looking back, think about one positive habit you used to have, something you stopped doing.
And ask yourself if maybe you could start it again. Maybe with the 2-minute rule, or by stacking it onto another habit.
Think about that story of change in your own life and try to tell it using the English we learned today.
That is excellent advice. Thank you so much for diving deep with us. If you found this useful, please remember to subscribe to Language Learning Podcast. We'll be back with more deep dives to help you master English conversation. We'll see you next time.